Okay, this is Wayne Thomas, the Bible teacher, and today there are a few things I want to address. A few things. Okay. Oh, wow. Okay, first of all, I want to address when you see me walking with my video, walking like this here, that means that I have a problem. Now, on my last a couple videos back, I was telling you about how I was attacked. And it wasn't an attack from a human being, it was a spiritual attack. Okay. That said, I said that at one point on that video, I said that at one point I lost almost lost 504 videos. Okay, and it took us days to find them, and when I finally got them back, a lot were duplicated, and I got a lot of them back, yeah, for sure, but some were destroyed. So I'm finding myself having to videotape some of them, not a lot, but some. So when you see me in another whole environment, that's me recording the videos that were lost or destroyed, or as the computers would call it, corrupted. Okay, so this is going to be one of those videos because I have a uniform thing going on with all of the videos. They're all one look, one thing, and I just thought that it would be a big problem if you're watching my videos and all of a sudden this one video is all in this whole another environment kind of a thing. Anyway, but I have no other choice but to film it that way. All right, and that's going to be coming up, and it's going to be Genesis chapter 3. Where Satan tricks the woman. Okay? And that ironically, and that weird, out of all the videos that would be destroyed, that would be the one that would be destroyed. Think about that for a second. Okay. All right, that said, that's the first thing. The second thing is I put out a video talking about the translations. I was having a problem with the translations, these new Bible translations, and I think that this is an appropriate time to mention this because the video that I lost, when you put them all together, it's a weird situation. The video that I lost is also, I wanted to point out, there in that video, the video where Satan tricks the woman in Genesis chapter 3, here's also where I saw the very first translation problem right there. It's going to be in that story right there, and it's where Satan talked to the woman and got her to eat from the tree, and in the old Bibles that I learned from, it said that she ran off and she ate from the tree, then she ran off, found her husband Adam, gave him of the tree, and he did eat, and and then they both realized that they were naked. Now, that is in every Bible, the old Bibles, they all said that she ate from the tree and ran off, found her husband, and gave him from the fruit, and he did eat. Okay, they all say that. Okay, all right. Now, in this new translation, and I was going to point this out in the tape that I made that got destroyed, I pointed this out, how they all say in the new translation that her and Adam were together, and Satan was talking to her, and she ate from the tree and just took the fruit, said here, and gave him the fruit so that he could eat right there, standing right next to her. Okay, and that's not what happened. I think that if they were side by side, and the enemy tried to get them to eat from the fruit, I think that Adam would have avoided it. He could have avoided it. He would have made some sort of argument, and maybe got on her case or whatever, and made that not happen. But but in the New Bible translations, again, they were side by side, and she ate from the tree and just gave him, let him eat. And so I look at the whole list of all these new Bibles that came later on in the 70s, 80s, 90s, and all that, especially in the 80s and 90s and on. They all say that they were together, and says that she turned and gave of him of the fruit, and he did eat. Some say did eat with her. Some says that she ate from the fruit and turned and gave to her husband, and he did eat too. You know what I mean? All of them are all agreeing. They're all agreeing that they were together. They were at one point together. You know what I mean? When she made this move and was going to eat, and she ate from the tree, and they were together side by side. Now, to show you how wrong that is, if you look at the next thing that happened, which I'm going to be going over in a minute, when the Lord came and they realized that they were naked and they were now hiding, and the Lord came to them and said, Adam, where are you? And Adam said, I was hiding. And the Lord went right to it. Did you go eat from the tree I told you not to eat from? And Adam said, the woman, she ate from the tree, and she came and she did eat and gave me of the fruit, and I ate. So that shows right there also that they weren't side by side together when Satan made this move on them. There's another way of looking at it right there. See, with these people with these translations, they're so busy trying to make the Bible easy and take out any kind of mystery or any kind of whatever's like it there, okay? And they literally said that, okay? Now, with that said, then there's another part of this, And see, I read from Bible. I mentioned in the translation Bibles, and in some of the other videos as well, that I learned from the Bible. I started reading the Bible in 1975. Okay, I started reading the Bible in 1975. Okay, please know, I should have mentioned this on that video when I said this. Please know that when I started reading the Bible, 1975, it wasn't a nice brand new 1975 Bible. In fact, I wasn't into the Bible at that time. I was still getting ready to come into my 20s, and I was with the world, and I was doing my thing. I wasn't into the Bible. The only reason why I got into the Bible, which I thought at that time, the only reason why I got into the Bible was because I just thought when I prayed, my little words didn't mean nothing. My little words what am I talking about? My words don't mean nothing. So I thought if I read the Bible, some of the words in the Bible would help me, allow me to know some things better to say in my prayers. That's what I thought. Little did I know that the Lord had his own plan for me learning his Bible. But the Bible that I learned from was way back there. That was an old Bible. That was an old, beat up old Bible. The place that I moved into, the apartment that I moved into, they took everything out and left some old books behind. Some old books behind. And then those old books was that old beat up blue Bible. I'll never forget it. You know what I mean? That old blue Bible was there. That thing had to be, that Bible had to be from like 1940s or 1930s, 40s, 50s, somewhere around there. It was an old Bible. That wasn't no brand new Bible, 1975 brand new Bible. That thing was all old and beat up, and I kept it. That's why I started reading from it. Okay, so to show you how far back it was. It was an old Bible with old stories. Now I'm gonna tell you, on the Bible video I talk about with the Bible translations and the problems that I have with the Bible translations. I should have mentioned this also. I forgot to mention this. That in that old Bible, to show you how far out and far away from these stories these new translations are, there was a story in that old Bible about King David. Well, he wasn't king yet. He was a little kid. And when you get to First Samuel in my videotapes, First Samuel, you'll see what happened with David and King Saul. Okay, just real brief little heads up about it. What happened was Saul, when King David killed Goliath, King David and Goliath, when he killed Goliath, and the men, he chopped off Goliath's head. And when they all went back to the town, because on that tape I let you know that Israel was scared of the Philistines because they had a brand new secret weapon, a giant named Goliath, and they were kicking everybody's tail. They were highly feared by everybody. Was scared of them because of this Goliath. And Goliath came, and when David went to visit his brothers, I'm jumping way ahead of myself. Right? I'm telling you this, but David went out to help his brother, his older, because he was a little younger baby son, little youngest son, and his dad sent him out. You go take some fruits and vegetables and things out to your older brothers down at the battle with the Philistines. And when David went down there, and all of this is going to be in the First Samuel. You'll see all this in those videos. He goes down there, and while he's down there, whenever Goliath came out, Israelites ran. Everybody ran, but the Israelites ran when Goliath came out. And one time on this particular battle, Goliath came out, and Israel ran, and Goliath came out cursing our father. And David was like, "Who is this uncircumcised Philistine? I will kick his you know what." And they were like, "No, David, you can't. You know what I mean?" And he was like, David was so upset, "I'm gonna kick his behind," And surely enough, David started getting, and they were like, who's that little dude? Saul and King Saul and them were up on the hill watching everything. And they saw David in front of Goliath, "Oh, come on." and to make a long story short, what ended up happening was, okay, so he was like, "Come on." And Goliath was like, "Get that little pipsqueak out here. Get him away from over here. What can he possibly do with me? I'm a man of war. I was born for war. What little toot whistle? Get him out of here." And Goliath and Saul was like, who's that little guy down there standing up against Goliath? And they said, "That's David, Jesse's son." And so they asked him to come up to see Saul, and they were like, "Who are you?" And David said, "I'm Jesse's son." And he was like, I'm gonna go down here, I'm gonna destroy. Who is this Philistine? Which is the key question right there. When you're in Catholic school or any churches, whatever, no one tells of the simple story about with that one question that one question statement that David asked right there, which makes this story which shows you a very important point about David and who he was and how he was in the Lord. He was like, "Y'all all running? Who is this Philistine, this uncircumcised Philistine who's blaspheming and cursing our God? Oh, he gonna die today. He gonna die today." And they were like, "Well, you can't fight him. You're just a young youth. You're just a child, a teenager." Because David was about 13 or 14 years old. "You're just a little young child, you know what I mean? And this man has been fighting ever since he was trained from being a champion fighter from being a child. So ain't no way in the world you go." And David was like, "See, he going out today." He's fighting, he's blaspheming against our God. Oh, he going today. So they were like, okay. So they tried to put all their armament on him and all that. And he was like, he was a little skinny little kid. So all that armament and armor and all that stuff didn't work for him. He said, I'll figure out my own thing. And then, of course, he went down to the brook and got his slingshot ready, and went down to the brook and got smooth stones. And we know what happened after that. Anyway, he kills Goliath. Because I'm going to get to my point here. He kills Goliath, and when they went, and he chops off Goliath's head, and now Israel's like, yeah! And they went down there, and now they're chasing the Philistines all over the place, which the Philistines couldn't believe that something like this happened, because they were so well feared. So all of a sudden, their Goliath was knocked down, was destroyed, and David goes over and takes a big old heavy sword, his sword, which Goliath's sword, which was very hard to hold. He took it and he chopped off Goliath's head. Anyway, to my point I'm trying to make here, the men, we were all going back to the town. David and King Saul, they're all victorious now, and they're all heading back to the town. And the women were singing the song. Saul killed his thousands. David killed his 10,000s. And Saul was like, did you hear that, what they're saying? Saul killed his thousands, and David killed his 10,000s? What more could he want but the kingdom? And from that moment right there, Saul put it in his heart to kill David. He put it in his heart to kill David. And David was 13, 14 years old. And for the next, Saul spent most of his adult life, and David most of his teenage years into his adult life. David spent those years running from Saul, hiding from Saul, because every time Saul would find out that David was hiding somewhere, him and his men, here they come. And they're coming to kill David, trying to get him. But the Lord was with David, and he ended up leaving Saul. The Lord's Spirit left Saul. He ended up getting into David, but he left Saul. And that and you get all the juicy stuff that happened with that. All of that happened. You'll have to see for yourself. Anyway, so the point I'm really trying to make here is that when in the old Bibles there was a story about David, and he was hiding in a cave. He was hiding in the cave, and he was because he was hiding from Saul, because he was very scared of Saul. Saul was an older man, king of Israel, and had a lot of men always after him trying to kill him. So he was hiding from Saul in this cave, and the Lord made a spider come and make a big gigantic web on the mouth of the cave. David went up in there, and the Lord made a spider come and make this gigantic web all over the mouth of the cave. So when Saul and them got there, they knew that he couldn't be. They're looking all around looking for him, and they know, well, he can't be in here because there's this web on the mouth of the cave. So he knew he couldn't be in there. Okay, all right. And eventually David got out of there and went his way and so forth. Would you believe that in the Bibles today, that story is not in one single Bible today? They took that story out of all Bibles. And you want to hear the sad part about that? That particular story right there? The Muslims took that story and put it into their Quran. No disrespect to them. But they took that story out of the Holy Bible and put it in the Quran and made it that Muhammad was hiding from somebody, and he went into the cave, and their Allah, I guess, made a spider come and put the spider web on the mouth of the cave. Believe it or not. There are so many reasons why you don't want to be messing around with our Father's Bible. These people who were call themselves overseers. I gave you a list on that a translation tape, I made a list of some of the people who were writing this stuff, making these translations. Okay? And they omitted that whole story right there I just told you. Took it out. You know? And I don't know how, but the Muslims got it. They put it in their Quran. And it wasn't David at all. It was Muhammad. Which is really, really weird. Okay? All right. So, this is one of the dangers of playing around with these translations. You know, this is why people don't, I realize that this is why people don't go to church, or this is why people don't believe in God. This is why. These are the kind of reasons why people don't go to church or don't want to believe in God. Because people make these people who call themselves overseers, they have the financial means, they have the various financial means to get involved with different circumstances and situations and make changes in the Bible like that there. And normal people, regular people, if they don't know the Bible, they wouldn't know one way or the other. They don't know one way or the other. Then you go to the church. If the priests and pastors and reverends and stuff at the church, if they don't know the Bible, well, they don't know one way or the other either. And you'll go along years of your life not even knowing what really happened. It's bad enough that the Bible is such a thick book, and it takes a whole lot. I mean, I've been at it for 50 years, so it takes a whole lot. And I'm trying to make the Bible easy so that you don't have to go through those 50 years of trying to learn the Bible. You watch my little stories and my little videos, and you learn the Bible real quick. You know. And with that said, there's another reason why it's very important to be accurate. There's a very important reason. That's why it's very important to me to be accurate in telling the stories. You know. But yes, you don't mess around with our Father's Word like that. You don't mess around with our Father's Word. Okay, that said, you know, that's what's going on with that, okay? Now I want to bring that point up. Okay, now the next thing, of course, is now let's get to the topic at hand. Now let's get to the topic at hand. And that's going to be coming up in the next video because I'm at my time. And the next video is going to be where I left off, Genesis chapter 3. Okay? All right. And I might even mention again in there the translation side of it. Okay? How they change that, you know, from, you know, Adam and Eve standing there side by side with her while Satan was making them make that prop as they're agreeing to make that mistake. Okay? All right. Thank you for watching my videos. And but I'm hoping that you guys are learning, and that's the most important thing. Okay? Thank you. All right. Bye-bye.